Good evening, dandies. Welcome to Undetermined, the podcast.
How's it going, man?
Likewise.
Just make us sound cool, man.
Oh, shit. You came to the wrong podcast for that. So I'm Matt, everybody. You guys have already met John. You guys want to introduce yourselves? We're talking to...
The tunnel.
The Tunnel.
Tunnel. Out of San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm Sam. I'm the bass player.
Hi, Sam.
Nice to meet
Hey.
you.
I'm Michael. I'm the new guy. I'm the drummer.
And I'm Jeff. I'm the yeller, talker, singer, sometimes guitar player.
Nice.
Right on.
Well, welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, you guys came highly recommended by Jay Reptoid, by Jordan. Worked on your latest album. That's really cool. Also, an interesting point that I found out later, I didn't even know this at the time, but I was talking to my buddy Tony Willis and saw that you guys were mutual friends and out of Forbidden Place Records. And they're putting out your new album, right?
That's right. Yeah, the nice package of our compilation of our recent EPs on colored vinyl gatefold. It's pretty nice.
Cool. What do you got going with the vinyl? Some glow in the dark stuff, or like?
Yeah, the Glow in the Dark was for all the European releases, and then
Okay.
the main ones here are all red. But that's actually the Jordan stuff was after that, so we're kind of like lost in time a little bit right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of spoiled for releases at the moment.
Yeah, the vinyl got kind of held up with COVID and all that kind of thing. So we've been working on it for a little bit over a year with them. Yeah, and we've been recording and working on other stuff since, and keeping releases going.
Yeah, it's a weird thing for like a lot of discussions just with musicians, especially if how much everything is just in limbo right now,
Yeah.
Just talk about what's going out or what's going on. It's like, well, instantly nothing, we were right in the middle of this shit. So
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if we could practice, but that kind of it's like, oh man, if this COVID thing wasn't happening, we could
Right.
totally like practice and write all these songs. And it's like, well, we can't even talk to humans, same room, kind of
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah, it's sucky. Super
Yeah.
sucky.
It's gotten to the point where the Bandcamp day, which just happened, is like the time for all the camaraderie and listen to everything people have been working on. But it's tough to keep the motivation when I don't know, for us, we haven't really gotten together for months, but we're
Wow.
trying. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Luckily, it just so happened that we had all these releases piling up, so we have something to do and something to focus on. That's exciting. But yeah,
Mhm.
whether or not I hope they're going out into a world on the other side of where we're sending them. Hard to tell.
Right. Yeah. I picked up your, via Bandcamp, I picked up your Nightfall EP
Oh, cool.
today. $1. How do you guys make any money on that?
That's
Can't do that.
25 cents a song.
I know. That's ridiculous. I even posted it today on social media. I was like, come on, everybody's got $1.
No, I just saw that purchase. It bought me 2 cubes of tofu, and I thank you for that.
I did kick in 5. I was like, that's just too
Oh.
cheap. You can't,
Thank
you
you.
can't do that for $1. I was like, I'll give him $5.
Awesome.
That is
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of tofu.
Yeah. 2 like full, like cubes.
So how long have you guys been playing?
Well, there's been different members over the years. I guess I'm the only original member, but Sam and I have been playing together for a very long time. 10 years, right? And then
Yeah, come on.
Michael calls himself a new guy, but we've been a pretty tight unit for how long now? 3 years?
It's all relative, man. It's been about 3 years, yeah.
Right. In COVID time, that's how many? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
I
what was
can't
the
tell
virus?
if time is flying by or standing still.
Yes.
Yeah. It's a very weird feeling.
So, these guys actually made a 6-song record in between drummers called Six Curses of the Blackout Witch Cave. that I liked a lot, and we were both the band I was in previously was called Porch.
Yeah.
And we actually organized a show. We were kind of connected together through this the PRF barbecue thing, which they would do on the West Coast. And it kind of started in Chicago, so we would like play together and hang out, all the same folks, and camaraderie between bands. And that's kind of how one of the reasons we met Jordan. But actually, they opened for Porch. We organized a show at the Hemlock Tavern, which is one of the greatest clubs ever that's no longer there in San Francisco.
Yeah, Jordan was talking about that.
Yeah, and basically we just were chatting and said, hey, how about you sit in for a couple songs, because my drums were there, and it made it easy, and it started something special. Yeah.
Right. So what is, I mean, I'm not familiar with it. Of course, we're in the Midwest coast. So what is that? I mean, I hear a lot of that from a lot of the artists we talk to. We talk to a lot of Bay Area bands and stuff, but what is the PRF barbecue, or I mean, I hear a lot of buzz about it, but how did that,
so it's like speaking of Steve Albini before, it's like an offshoot or like a worship group of his from the electrical audio site. And it's just like all like-minded people that kind of have roots with that kind of music. And it just, it's huge that it just, those people get together, and there's a huge, like just on the internet, and they'll have like West Coast shows and Midwest, like the Chicago and Milwaukee ones are huge. And they're doing East Coast. It's just all like-minded bands. Yeah. Just getting together. They'll have like 3-day festivals and barbecues. And I think what I like about it is each band is limited to 30 minutes. So the first one we did, they had a guy with a laptop who is one of the members of one of the bands, and you could see the countdown from 30 minutes. So it's you had to have, it's amazing, because it's not like, guitar solos and like, oh, I'm going to introduce the band. It's like you just go out there and like knock out 5, 6, 7 of your best songs, and just everyone buys each other's stuff. It's super cool.
Wow.
Super cool.
I think you guys are familiar with Conan Neutron.
Oh, yeah.
So Conan used to live out here on the West Coast, and he started that PRF thing, or started being the coordinator for that. I think probably about like 7 years ago, you guys. And yeah, he kind of brought it to the West Coast, and then he's since moved back to Wisconsin. I think, right? Yeah. But yeah, it kept going. And I mean, obviously, not so much in COVID times, but it's cool. It definitely has a great community vibe on the West Coast, and it would end up being bands from LA, and like, a lot of bands from Portland and Seattle would come down and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a good time.
Yeah, that's who I heard about it from, and I just didn't want to sound like I wasn't cool enough to know. I probably got out of Chicago before I ever caught any of those, but that's really, so about how many bands would
that was
show up in a day? Or like, you got 30-minute sets, but how long would the shows go?
Well, let's see, I think the biggest one I've seen was, or not seen personally, but the Chicago ones actually went for 4 days. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think like the Thursday, Friday are just kind of the night ones. And the Saturday, Sunday, probably like 14 bands a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
When if they try to find it's kind of hard in San Francisco, but I played the one in Chicago once, and they had a venue where they basically had a main stage and then a floor, so they would just switch it. Like it literally, there was like minutes or seconds, even in some cases, between bands, where like one band would finish and then they'd do that, so they could do like 13 or 14 a day if they started at like 4 or 5 o'clock, and it was pretty focused. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I am remiss to have missed those. That's
So this takes place on Catalina Island, is that correct? There's wine.
We actually have a really good friend who's from Oahu, and he's been pushing for the Hawaii version of the PRF, but we just haven't quite got the funds together yet,
awesome.
man.
Yeah. Not a cheap ticket.
No. It might be getting cheap soon. They may be pretty desperate to get people into Hawaii before long.
They're going to be desperate to get people on planes at all, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool. Any what's your like favorite memories of doing those shows, or bands that you've seen? Or
I have one that I think it was the second one that we played that just Jeff and I did it with a drum machine, and the band before us were called Catastrophe Girlfriend, and it was a 4-piece, and the girl sang and played guitar. And the bass player, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like within the first song, she got pissed at him, told him to stop playing, and made him stand in the corner, and he was just relegated to phone duty. And so it was just, everyone was just like, what the hell is happening with that? But so I don't know if it turned out to be her brother or a boyfriend or something, but that's just, I'll
public
never forget
firing.
that. So.
Yeah.
It was memorable for sure. Yeah.
And I think that was the same night that we met you, Michael, maybe.
I think that's probably true. That's probably true. Yeah.
And I
get
think it's the
fired
first
from a
time
band, right?
I saw Jordan perform that same night. So that was a memorable night for sure.
Yeah, he played right after us. Because I remember I went up during Catastrophe Girlfriend, and I had never met him before. I'm like, hey, listen, so we got a kind of a complicated sound thing. We got a drum machine, I have a lot of pedals. And he's like, I'm like, all right, whatever.
Right.
That's cool. And then, we finish and have friends lugging all of our gear off. And he comes up with this just like endless, just pedals and pedals. And I was like, oh shit.
Right.
Look who I was talking to.
I thought I had it complicated.
Yeah, exactly.
And Sam does have it complicated. He's got quite a mothership of a pedal board, but I don't think anyone can top Reptoid in massive industrial electronics assault.
For sure. For sheer footage of cabling. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I can't wrap my mind around that, how that works for him. And I mean, if something wasn't triggering or something wasn't going, how he would know, like, with that sort of rat's nest of, cables and everything else he must have going.
I would think that most drummers try to get sponsored by like cymbal companies or stick companies, but I'm sure Jordan has on his list for like cable companies.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, at any given moment, Sam is like managing 2 different bass amps with 2 different effects chains and the vocal processing of my vocals.
Huh.
So it's pretty impressive.
Oh,
a little tap dancing, just a tiny bit.
Yeah. So what else is going on? I mean, with like samples, triggers, anything else like that? Who's in charge of that then? Is that also Sam?
Well, no, that's actually Michael has just a little box like for between songs or starting different songs that just kind of rotate just random little movie sound bites or little sounds, just little loops, just so there's kind of always something going between songs and stuff.
Right.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And I try to keep it pretty simple on stage. I have the same little like Boss pedals rig I've had since like decades. But sometimes we project video collages that I made behind us too when we play.
But it seems like every time we focus on that, we're like, sweet, let's do this. Jeff, it looks awesome. I can't wait. And we'll project it. And then I think every single time they've like killed the house lights. And I can't see, I suck. So I can't see what I'm playing. I need like lights. I can't just like, blindfolded and like, I'm feeling it. And I need to see what I'm playing kind of thing. And they always turn down the lights. And it's like, I can't see anything.
Yeah.
Right.
We had a nice tour plan for May, which would have given us lots of opportunities for such things, but it got canceled. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Or rescheduled.
Rescheduled. Yeah. Keep it positive.
Yep.
I was just thinking another good memory from the PRF is when I was reunited with my former bandmate. I think somebody said they were from Chicago. I don't know if you know of a Chicago band named Nonagon. John Hasty and I used to be in a band together in Illinois, and he came out for one of the PRFs, so that was cool.
Yeah, I've heard of Nonagon. I mean, I'm from Illinois myself. Grew up in Northern Illinois, outside of Chicago, pretty much across the top of the state. Oh, where did you grow up?
Mount Prospect. It's on the Northwest train line.
Sure. I grew up in Morrison, Illinois, so near the Quad Cities, or Sterling, Illinois is probably the closest kind of bigger town, or where the steel mill was. Yeah, up there. That's where you were born and everything else, and up there. How did you wind up out in San Francisco?
I was in Illinois or Chicago area for the first part of my life, and then went to school downstate in Champaign-Urbana for like many years. Hung out there, and then and was in bands down there with John too. And then moved to Chapel Hill, was in some bands there for a bunch of years, and then ended up in the Bay Area.
Actually, Jeff and I were born in the same hospital 6 months apart, which is
really
that's super weird.
Yeah,
that is. How long did it take for you guys to meet?
Yeah,
like 3 decades, something. 3.5
decades. That's weird.
The Tunnel was a 2-piece for a long time, and we didn't have a bass player, and then we were looking for one, and we were glad to find Sam.
Oh, thanks, man.
Sam, where do you hail from then?
Well, yeah, I was born in Milwaukee, and then lived there a while, and then Michigan, then the UP.
Oh, yeah.
And then back to Michigan, then Arizona and Tucson, and then I came out here in San Francisco. Yeah.
So wild. So you're all Midwest boys, or
Not Michael. Michael just said
not Michael. Not Michael.
I'm California born and raised, man. Really boring. Yeah, I've been in the Bay Area all my life. So
right on. San Francisco.
I used to live down south a bit, like kind of in between like San Jose and San Francisco in the burbs, and then moved to San Francisco like maybe like 2007, I think, something like that, with my lovely wife, and we had our son there. But yeah, I mean, definitely as a kid, like it was all about what was going on in the city, and in terms of shows and bands and stuff like that.
Yeah. How old's the kid?
He is 15.
Oh shit!
And already in two bands himself, actually.
Which is nice.
Better than I was.
What does he do?
He started playing guitar, but now he's playing bass in a metal band, and then he's also got another band that's like piano, trumpet, 2 female vocalists, like some pop covers, but also some like piano originals that his buddy writes. And a bunch of talented kids. It's cool. He's definitely got a good ear and good sense of it. He could certainly practice more, but that's
oh shit, I know that
pretty
one.
standard, right?
Yeah, couldn't we all? Is he too cool for dad as far as playing or listening?
Not yet, but I foresee that coming pretty soon. Right. He was wearing his Tunnel shirt today. We got new shirts, and he was sporting it. So I'm not sure how long that'll last, but I can't complain.
Nice. Mine actually wanted a podcast T-shirt, and I couldn't believe it when he asked for one.
Yeah, my daughter's kind of yeah. I can tell she does, but she's not going to say that she does. Yeah.
So I'll do a good kids segue because I haven't said my PRF story yet. And there's so many, it's like hard to pin them. But I would definitely say the first PRF that we did on the West Coast, my previous band got the chance to play with Eugene Robinson from Oxbow. We had him come up and do a song, an old port song, which was pretty awesome. And the segue is that Eugene just had another kid, I think 2 days ago, actually. I'm not sure how many children he has at this point. I think he has like 3. Yeah, that was pretty awesome. So,
right on.
Are you guys familiar with Oxbow?
A little bit, yeah, and not a whole lot. I mean, got a massive.
I feel like in the last few months, we've been kind of inundated with all these new artists or new to us artists that we need to check out, which has been really cool. And a lot of them from the Bay Area that we didn't know about, even though I think we've talked to a lot of Bay people lately.
We have.
But it seems like every time there's like another one. Oh, and you need to check out these guys. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, not being from there, but Matt lived in Missouri his whole life, and I've moved to Missouri when I was about 17. But I mean, we always associated that we were big fans of Bay Area music, but then we kind of realized that that's all related to like MTV and our perception of what Bay Area music is or was, in say, the 1990s or relating.
Green Day and Metallica. That's it.
Right. Well, you know, a little bit deeper.
Primus.
Yeah, Primus, a little bit deeper. I mean, bands like Bungle and Psychofunkapus and others that played around there, but not not deep in the scene, because we were in the Ozark Hills. Yep. So see, it's what you have access to. But I'm definitely sure that our perception of what the Bay is and what your perception is are two totally different things.
It's adapted a lot over time for sure, but there's no doubt there's a ton of great bands that have come from Bay Area proper for sure.
Right. And I think, I mean, the reason the Expo is interesting is because they're kind of part of, I guess, a Bay Area tradition of very performance art oriented rock, like with strange stagings and lighting and bands appearing in the club not where you'd expect them to appear, like behind you and that sort of thing.
And in many cases, scaring the hell out of you, which is cool.
Yeah,
you guys should check them out. Absolutely.
You know, I guess that's probably, as far as like the wilder end goes, what I perceive of it anyway. Like maybe Sleepy Time Gorilla Museum, or which I've always loved a lot of their concepts.
Me too.
Like playing an entire concert to a banana slug, and that's fucking great, in my opinion.
Yeah, one time I saw them, and they were maybe they did this everywhere, but they had a Buto performance starting in the back of the club and slowly working its way through the crowd as only Buto can, and it slowly became their show.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Are you guys Season Tourist fans from Missouri?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they're amazing. I love them. Amazing.
Yep. Friends with Billy Smith and Josh Newton and from Shiner.
We know several people from them. Yeah. Or have been involved in them from one time to another.
One point or another.
Yeah,
our big.
They're really good.
Kansas City go-to. Matt actually lives in Kansas City, so.
Not that I'm getting to see anybody right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, haven't really since you've been there, but yeah.
We were Shiner was supposed to be just playing here with Godzillionaire, and who else was it they were supposed to be playing with?
Oh, I can't remember, but it was supposed to be a really good show.
We saw them on their last tour when they came out here and played at the bottom of the hill.
Shiner?
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, we had Josh on. He's a pretty cool dude.
Yeah. Check out the new record. It's good.
Great.
Oh yeah, it's really good stuff.
Yeah, they had two. I guess the first half of the set was because I was in a Season to Risk, but I never got into Shiner, so I wanted to see them. And there's like a younger kid playing drums, like short dark hair, and he was really good. And then actually, I was standing with Conan, and this guy looked like a volleyball coach, was kind of hanging out by the stage. I'm like, who is that guy? And then he gets up and starts drumming, and he's amazing. So I don't know if he's the original drummer, but he was amazing. But straight up volleyball coach guy. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Who knows? You know, that lineup has changed so many times.
Yeah.
Those kind of experiences are always quite shocking. Like I remember the first time I saw Jesus Lizard in a small club in Charleston, Illinois. And all I knew was this kind of questionable fellow had stumbled into our pinball game and was telling us how we should be playing the pinball game. Is this guy? And then it was David Yao, and he ripped my face off, and I haven't been the same since.
Did he give you any good pinball suggestions?
Kind of like good in the sense that some like a way too clever drunk troublemaker could give you good suggestions.
Sure.
Right. Somebody who just needs to be heard. Yeah. Yeah, that's how David Yao strikes me. And it's still, I mean, especially as like he gets older and everything, it just doesn't seem to fit. You know, I guess, well, he's never just really looked like a complete wild man or anything. You know, he just kind of looks like an any guy, and then gets up there and, you know, plays this awesomely bizarre music. That's one thing I've always found interesting about David Yao is hell, I might not even as many times as I've seen pictures of him or seen performances, I don't know that I would know him if he was standing right behind me. You know?
Yeah. Pretty nondescript.
different persona on stage for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Then he lets loose, and it's crazy. Still love to talk to him. Yeah, he just did right before all this shit shut down. He did a couple flipper shows and good stuff. That would have been great to see.
So, what is your stage persona? What is that like? How does it differ from every day?
Well, I think that a lot of my lyrics and presence can resemble something a little bit sort of like a primordial preacher, fire and brimstone type of thing. So it's kind of hard not to fall into that. And then I'm sure I must appear a little bit different off stage than on, I'm guessing.
I'd attest to that. Yeah. Of course, I'm usually behind you. So.
But yeah, well, I mean, there has to be some sort of difference, apparently. I mean, we're going to encourage everybody to go out and listen to your music, of course, when this episode comes out. And I've been trying to otherwise. But yeah, you guys definitely sound a lot more mild-mannered than the sound anyway. You know, I haven't seen you perform, but so was there something, was it just kind of all mutual shared influences that kind of landed on that sound? Because I mean, I hate to describe you. I hate like
yeah, that one never seems fair.
It doesn't seem fair.
I think like Jeff and I have kind of similar stuff from like older like Wax Tracks is a huge influence on both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when we all write songs and come up with ideas, and so it's kind of gotten us in trouble a little bit because we don't have a lot of like really tight sister bands. Like they're this kind of music, because some of the stuff's really really gentle. And the other stuff's just, super aggressive, and it's weird. But I mean, like my holy trinity would be Killing Joke,
yes,
Gary Newman, and Susie.
Oh, right on.
Which you probably couldn't tell by all. But I think if you took all of our holy trinities of music and then did like a little sphere thing, there's some stuff that kind of locks in the middle for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Wax Tracks definitely makes sense. I mean, I'm a big Wax Tracks head as well, so I can definitely hear that in it, and it makes sense being from Illinois. I mean, just how and like I've said before, how weird is that came out of there, with that many different bands and that many, that industrial scene just coming out of Chicago.
Right.
When you consider it could have come someplace like New York, as like I've heard a lot of people say, New York makes Chicago look like Chicago. It does,
I think that growing up with that stuff, Wax Tracks and Jesus Lizard and Tar and some of the other Killdozer, some of the other bands from around that era, definitely instilled in me the excitement that comes with a healthy dose of fear and libidinous release in music, but definitely fear. And so I can't really imagine doing music that doesn't involve that kind of a primal engagement.
Yeah.
I want that as like your next record title, Libidinous Release.
Definitely.
That's like a really good title. I really like that. Sorry to get off subject there.
Noted.
Note. Yeah. Very least a good song title. Yeah. Very good song title.
I guess to add to that, yeah, I think I definitely come from more of a originally like a hardcore background, like in the Bay Area, like Bad Brains and Minor Threat and stuff like that when I was younger, and then went through a lot of different changes and over time. I would definitely say for me that what I've been doing more recently was more like math rock, weird time type stuff. From like I don't know, like Bitch Magnet, Slint, These Arms Are Snakes, stuff like that. Yeah. And this band's been interesting for me because it's more, there's still dynamics and there's still, it's not about trying to be weird in terms of times and stuff like that, though we do that sometimes, but it's more, and it's more of a feel mood kind of thing, which I've actually been enjoying a lot.
Yeah. Like I say, I wouldn't try to categorize it, but I mean, even you guys are kind of referred to it as death rock. I think that's a pretty good way. Might hear some germs in there, and definitely a punk feel too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if we've all been to the same show, if we're going to see like a band that's been touring through that, if we haven't played at it, but all three of us, I think it's just probably Unsane is the only show that we were all at the same time.
Probably many times.
Yeah.
But yeah, all
that was a good
common.
one, man, for sure. Yeah.
Just a simplicity. I mean, maybe not normal ways to write music, but definitely stripping it down works to our advantage. And Michael has been very game to try and play like half as many notes or a quarter as many notes as he might want to, which is awesome because I don't know too many drummers who will do that.
It's good for me, man. It's healthy.
Yeah. So where does how does that process go? There's like putting together a new song. You know, is it all over the place? Just somebody comes up with a riff, somebody comes up with a lyric. What's a typical process anyway, if there is one?
I think Jeff usually has some good fleshed out stuff. If he has like a neat little melody or some keyboard stuff, I have to sneak my stuff in. So like when we start practice, I'll start like play a little something. I'll pretend like I'm not looking at him. It's like, oh, I'm just tuning. Yeah. And
hey, wait, man, what's that? That sounds cool. Oh.
And if their ears perk up or their tail like wags, I'm like, okay, all right, maybe I'll give you a little more. Maybe next practice. I gotta sneak it in.
That's kind of how I have to get my kid to listen to music. If I tell him, you should check this out, he's going to be like, no, thanks, Dad. I have to just kind of like let him hear it. Peripheral listens.
Totally.
This whole COVID thing has been really hard in that way because we can sit in a room together for 3, 4, 5 hours and do like songwriting sessions, and that's all of our happy places, I think, but we just haven't been able to do that. So we're trying to figure out some way to do it like remotely and keep things moving because we're, in California with the number of cases and stuff, we haven't quite got back to the point of sitting together in a room for hours on end, but we'll see how things go.
Yeah. And I mean, not to, I don't want to be a bummer on that regard. It seems like a lot of those conversations we have lately are bummers on that. But man, the EPs, just looking at the timeline and stuff and listening to your catalog, it's like the EPs were coming and they were coming fast. And, your sound was, I think, evolving quickly. And it certainly for somebody who was starting to get that prolific at the beginning of the year, there were plenty of changes and plenty of things that were new and interesting that I was hearing. Yeah, I'm sorry it all got shit on. I don't really have a question for that, I guess. It just came up with a statement. I guess.
We're figuring it out. I mean, I think the good news is the prolific elements are still there. We just have to kind of, I'm sure at some point soon we'll be back rehearsing together and stuff like that. But we definitely have, probably enough song ideas to get moving on the next record. And
with our chemistry that we have, I'm looking forward to getting back together again, but I don't really have any doubt that when we can, it'll keep on moving. And I mean, at least for me personally, I need to keep making song parts to slip to these guys, just because it's like an alternate reality I can't do without. So yeah. I'm into it.
So we've been sending little bits of, like, Jeff will work on stuff, I'll work on stuff, and just put to see if anybody likes it. And Michael has an electric kit at his house, and so it has to. Actually, you got a little log jam, Michael, right, with some song ideas we're sending you with tempos and stuff.
I'd like to say I'm a little backed up, but I'll be over the log jam soon enough, man.
Okay, quick band meeting.
How's the feel of that going though? I mean, are you guys conning to that at all, just with the file sharing and stuff, or is it just?
Well, that's the whole thing. It's not file sharing because we all use different platforms, which is very tunnel of us. So it's like we'll just do like MP3s. The stuff I've been sending won't have any. I'll have a tempo, and we'll just send like a song, like a working title with a the beats per minute, and then it'll sound weird without drums. But yeah, like it's kind of like with practice. If I send something, just really, if they're like it or not like it, then I'll know to flesh more of it out, kind of thing. But it's
I have another piece coming to you guys tonight, just so you know.
Me too.
And another complication is that lately I've been like documenting my ideas with synthesizers. And so like these guys get to hear all these laser drums. I'm like, what the hell is that?
Right. Yeah. Just doesn't sound the same.
It's fun interpreting laser drums, man. It's a challenge. But yeah, I would definitely say like for me, not being, right next to people while you're getting like, Sam said, the sort of in the moment feedback of like, is this working? Is this not working? Like we had a very organic, and we do have a very organic songwriting sort of formula, and it's really different. But I mean, I think the main hope is just that we'll have a bunch of pieces together that everyone agrees they like, and then when we do get back together in person, we can hit the ground running. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's really no substitute for like what the look that Sam gets when he goes, chills, I have chills, and he points at the hair standing up on his arms.
Right.
The part is working.
It's the best. The best.
Yeah, there's so much about that, especially just in-person rehearsal, just getting a little look or a little shrug or just tweak the head. And it's like body language gives away so much, or just a smile. You just, you can't that, So, yeah, we've got a few people who are really struggling with it, but we've got some people who are really taking off with it too, and just like the idea of, swapping those tracks back and forth. But probably not a lot of that you're going to keep in your tool belt after this whole plague down.
No.
I mean, the coolest thing about that is being able to like, do that with people that are like far away, right? Like that's one of the coolest benefits for sure. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we've got a lot of guys. Well, we know some people that's, I know one guy in particular I can think of that's pretty much all he does is just shares files, with everybody all over the country in different areas and pieces those together into music. And that's how he rolls.
Definitely a unique way of putting stuff together for sure.
Yeah. And when you've been doing this as long as you guys have together, it's gotta be tough.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole interaction. I mean, that's everything. With like even with like video games, I play like role playing games with like dice and paper and all that stuff. It's the same thing. I just don't see. I mean, it's awesome that people can do it, but I need the interaction, the human interaction for sure. As much as I hate humans and people, but it's like the ones that I do like. It's like I'm great with. That's what it's all about for sure.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, like, Dungeons and Dragons nights, those are, nights that you're with your buddies. It's a ritual.
Yeah.
More than anything. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. It's not even about the game half the time. Just getting other friends when I used to play. Yeah. Anybody else you guys are listening to lately or anything that you're jazzed about? Or, with like starting out working with Forbidden Place or anything else?
Michael's the guy that listens to all the cool new stuff. I'm like, I do K-pop. There's a band called Blackpink that I'm excited about, but that's one of the reasons I said you guys don't want me on this podcast. I'm just going to make you all look terrible.
I'm going to kick you off right now. We'll just carry on.
But Michael, I
wouldn't want to go up against Jeff comparing like new bands that are in terms of awareness at all. But we both share between us. So yeah, I've been listening a lot to Heads from Germany. I really like the new Vinkas and Wayland Storms records. Vinkas is from Atlanta and Wayland Storms from North Carolina. What else is good, Jeff?
Yeah, those are good. I've been liking the Arkway Noise Quintet. We were lucky enough to play with them this last summer. It's an awesome New York band. People from like Woman and Lubricated Goat. That was such a great show, and we played that with Musk too, which is also one of my local favorites. Definitely have this kind of like a scummy blues noise rock thing, like Scientists or mixed with like a little bit of hardcore and a little of that. There's other former Midwesterners in that band as well, so that shows. I definitely recommend them if you haven't heard them.
Right on. Yeah, you mentioned a whole bunch of bands I don't know. So
yeah, I don't recognize most of those. So.
Yeah,
there's a really great 2-piece that I know Jeff's very familiar with. We've seen them before and played with them called Chiromancer that I just picked up on Bandcamp yesterday that are definitely worth checking out too.
It was recorded by Todd Rittman from Dead Rider, another one of our favorites.
Cool. Wow. Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I used to take notes and write these down as we went. It's like, why am I doing that? We've got it recorded. yeah, we'll check them out. We like hearing about anybody and even K-pop. That's an interesting phenomenon, man.
That's amazing.
I don't judge anybody on what they listen to or.
Yeah, I mean, it's like there's tons of different kinds of it, but I mean, it's like certain styles of music. If it's like written well, like The Cars, one of my all-time favorite for songwriting. So it's like just the intro, verse, chorus, like a bridge. Just with any kind of music, if it has those elements of it and it's good, yeah, I'm sold for sure.
So that's the part of it that your takeaway is. It's just the structure of the songwriting and stuff.
The formula.
Well, it's and just like the sound and like how they probably have like 15 dudes that write the songs or whatever, and that's like really good recording and the vocals, everything, and they do all the little tricks and stuff. And usually I don't like that kind of stuff. It's kind of turns me away, but yeah, the package on some of that stuff that's coming out is just, that's crazy. It's impossible not to like tap your head, tap your foot kind of thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. When something's super catchy. I mean, I've always said, and regardless of trying to spread around cool points or anything else on underground bands, I mean, it's called pop music because it's popular, right? And it's popular for a reason in a lot of ways. Sometimes that's marketing. Other times it's because it's damn catchy.
Yeah.
Shit. A lot of bands in the 70s were definitely popular music that wouldn't be pop today, or I guess wouldn't fit in that category. It's interesting.
Don't get me started on Southern California smooth rock 70s. That's a whole different podcast.
I love that. I love that shit.
I kind of want to go there now.
Let's keep it clean, Sam.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I would argue that Wax Trax is maybe a lineage to K-pop because it's like not pristine, but like really precise production to achieve the end result. And it's basically pop music, right? I mean, pop music of a different era, but
sure, yep, high production value. That's a big part of it. But yeah, I love that. I mean, I love like 70s smooth rock and stuff, and like Gary Wright and some of the.
Are we talking Dreamweaver right now? Is that what's happening?
I was thinking Love Is Alive, but Dreamweaver's great. It's a greatly produced song, man. It's awesome.
Have you heard the Revolting Cocks version of Dreamweaver?
No, come on.
Just made it up.
I didn't know Revco did that. Okay.
No.
He might have.
We can ask them to do that. That could be a request. We'll send them one.
Yeah. Just might do it. We can ask. We can always ask.
I could see that. I can imagine it now.
I could.
Well, they did Physical, right? Olivia Newton-John, so it's not a stretch.
Right? Yep. Not too much of a stretch. And Chris Connolly's in a Bowie cover band now, so.
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
He's so good.
It's good.
Sons of the Silent Age. They've been doing that. They were doing that for a couple of years. Man, if anybody can nail his vocals.
Yeah.
Wow. I bet. His solo albums are great.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Yeah, he's still doing his solo stuff. It's just like a project for him.
Yeah, you can find some videos of performances that they've done. The sound quality is just bad because they're recorded by fans. So he won't put it out like on a record. He said basically, well, that's already been recorded with just what we do as a show,
That's cool.
Performance. So that's kind of what we're doing. He kind of treats it more like theater. So he's like, I'm not going to record those albums, but we already did that. But the performance sounds right. I just wish I could get my hands on hearing it really well, but he just says you're just going to have to come up to Chicago and see him because they'll only play around there too. So they're not like taking it on the road. It's just I think it's a little fun thing he does, I've heard one or two tracks that were recorded okay, like a decent iPhone or something. And boy, they sound, he sounds just like him. Amazing. Well, is there a problem with Bowie or just a problem with people covering Bowie?
There's probably another reason I shouldn't be on the podcast. I mean, I'm not, I totally get it. And that he's just like, the guy and everyone with the tattoos but it's just, maybe covering that, but I'm just going to stop talking. I just think it's weird that because his voice and Chris Connolly's, I'm just going to stop talking. I think Chris Connolly's cool. He doesn't need to do that for sure. For sure.
Yeah. And I don't think necessarily something like I say that he feels he has to. It's just something he enjoys to do.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying though. Definitely. I see a lot of people. I mean, I've kind of said that about like Dave Grohl before. I've said, I've seen Foo Fighters live and stuff, but I'm like, he's a great drummer. Phenomenal. I don't think he needed to pick up that guitar,
Oh, thank God you said that. Thank God. Oh, for reals. I mean, his drumming is amazing, but yeah, just no. Yeah, I totally agree.
That's what he wants to do, and that's he's having fun doing it. I'm not going to tell him what to do. I'm not paying his bills,
right?
So, but still,
I'll still go to a Foo Fighters show. It's fun.
Yeah, we did. Batman and I both went to one. God, there's a few songs I like. Main reason I went to go see Foo Fighters was to see Pat Smear, just because I was like, there's my chance to see him. He's still alive.
So you stood on his side of the stage.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's allowed.
He stays over there.
Covers is definitely a continuous debate within the tunnel. The concept of covers.
Just doing them at all.
We've tried. Yeah. We've tried and tried.
We have, but not recently. We all have strong opinions about how covers should be done, and it's never just like a straight cover. So it's it ends up being more trouble than our own songs. So we end up doing our own songs.
That's it.
Yeah.
What covers have you talked about?
The closest we came to cover in the past couple of years was Gary Newman's song.
Oh, really?
We scrapped it right before the show, right?
It's Moral. It's the last song off of Dance, the remastered Dance. So they put in an extra song. It's amazing. Actually, the drummer from Queen does his tom stuff is amazing. So it all starts with the drum machine stuff, and then it kind of gets rocking afterwards. And it was very close, but it just, I don't know.
Yeah,
it'll happen someday.
I think I'm definitely more of a fan of versions than I am as far as anybody trying to. Now, I mean, we've seen some cover bands who do it, to the T and play just like those bands and everything. That's impressive. It's hard to do, and it's fun to go to those shows, $5 shows, whatever, with a cool cover band. But I definitely like it when a band has their own take on a version of a song.
That's kind of the point of a cover, I think.
Yeah. You got to have your own take on it. What was your worst abject failure at a cover that you tried? The one you had to abandon immediately.
I can't think that's, at least in my time, that's never happened. But I mean, sometimes they just kind of
falls apart.
Yeah, falls apart. Just not what we're going to work on, I guess. But.
Yeah.
The one that sticks out in my mind actually wasn't with you guys. It was in one of my Illinois bands that after just a few minutes, the vibrant enthusiasm just deteriorated into horror within one take of the song.
Wow.
We are terrible. We are a terrible band playing this cover.
Yeah.
Because I've covered a ton of Prince songs in various bands because I love Prince. And they're really skeletal, a lot of them, when you get down to it, and there's a lot of room for doing your own thing, which is awesome. But the band I was in with John Hasty from Chicago, we tried doing You Got the Look briefly. And that is a hard song to do justice to.
Huh.
Isn't that Roxette?
No.
No.
Well, maybe, I think they have one too.
Yeah, they have one, but it's not the same. Yeah.
There was with that Sheena Easton.
Yeah, or Sheena E or whatever it is. Yeah, she had most of the singing on it.
I was in a band that covered Glamorous Life many times.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I could see a Prince song just not having the same...
Yeah, I mean, just that some of his songs are just studio constructions, and genius the way he pulled it off. And you try to get in there and see how to get some magic out of it yourself in a different way, and it just falls apart.
I can see that. You just feel like a puppet after a minute, and it's not. Yeah.
But we've done a Barry Adamson, Nick Cave song. We did Hoodoo Guru song. What else did we do?
I think the latest one, Trophy by Susie and the Banshees off of Kaleidoscope. I would still like to try that for sure.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And I have on my queue Heaven Tonight by Cheap Trick.
Oh, right on.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Chicago. Yeah.
I could see you guys doing a Cheap Trick song. Yeah, I could. Yeah, at least some of those rhythms and stuff.
Hey, just so off the cover topic, we do have a new EP coming out. The one you meant that Jordan recorded.
Yeah.
In September. And
what's it called?
It's called Condemned Collapse.
Dim Collapse. All right. How many tracks on this one?
It's a 2-song EP, and actually Jeff also does some pretty unique video creations, and we're releasing it with a video for each song as well. So.
Cool. Is this going to be available on Bandcamp?
Yeah, we're working with Justin Pearson, his PR company, The Chain, and gonna start pushing it out pretty soon, and it's slated for release. I think it's the 25th of September, right?
Yeah.
And just so everybody knows, where is your Bandcamp, where people can find it?
thetunnelsf.bandcamp.com.
Yes, the Tunnel SF. Important to put that in there. But yeah, great stuff, man, and looking forward to that. Anything that you can say about the new EP or anything that's just kind of a new direction, anything you're taking, or what's the biggest thing that stands out to you about it?
I'll start. The first recording I've ever done that was digital, that I was happy with how the drums sound, and I attribute that mostly to Jordan.
He was a pleasure to record with.
Totally. Oh, he was amazing, super efficient, and really fun to work with.
Cool, yeah. Excellent production. So you did all the video work yourself?
Yeah, it's pretty, I guess it's a little bit influenced by, I've been digging back into like a bunch of like 80s kind of proto-industrial type movies lately.
Uh-huh.
I'm like a huge Shinya Tsukamoto fan. I don't know if you know his stuff, like Tetsuo Iron Man and Bullet Ballet and Tokyo Fist, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Really gritty, Sogo Ishii, like really gritty, like industrial cyberpunk type stuff from the 80s. So it's kind of got that feel, but it's mostly collage of things like 50s science movies, like generating electricity and measuring the weather and lightning. And there's some old like kaiju monster stuff thrown in for good measure. And yeah, it's definitely got a 80s industrial feel to it, I think.
Cool. Looking forward to it, man. Well, we don't want to keep you guys all night either. Anything else you want to plug, drop, any new merch coming out, anything else like that? We're trying to do whatever we can to help people out, especially financially. Situation. It's a shit show.
I guess I'll mention something that we just put out in the late spring. It's a split single with our friends, an Oakland band called Thought Leaders. A bunch of them used to be in a band called The Mass from the Bay Area. And that, like a bunch of our stuff lately, is recorded with Tim Green. It's a song called Candy Viper. The Thought Leader song is called Radiator. And it's they're like another like Bay Area kind of like post-punk death rock band. So yeah, that's another side of us. I would say that one is very like death rock, new wave, pole dancing epic with Nazis and vampires, I believe, also.
Excellent.
In the second verse.
Not that I'm a fan of Nazis, but I know what you mean.
They're the bad guys.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, as long as they're the bad guys.
Vampires aren't necessarily.
Vampires always win.
Yeah. I hope so.
So I will also say we actually just got vinyl from our label and are going to have for the Shapeshifter release, the full length, and we'll have that stuff up on our Bandcamp probably in the next week or so.
Nice.
And yeah, they turned out great. Like Jeff said, there's a red vinyl and a glowing green vinyl for Europe, but we actually got a bunch of those as well.
So are you going to be selling any of the glowing ones?
Yeah, there will be some up there. Yeah, for sure. They're pretty slick. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took a look at them earlier. I kind of like the red though too. It's good looking albums. Good sound albums, man. Yeah, it's been really refreshing listening to your music. I really like it. Really enjoyed it. It's great to find something new that doesn't sound like
Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Heard about you guys, and it's been great to have you on. Thought it was a fun conversation. So
yeah. Good checking you.
Thanks, man.
Thank you guys very much
for joining us.
Thanks a lot. Awesome. You've been listening to Undetermined the podcast with The Tunnel. Have a great weekend. We'll be talking to you again soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.